So let me read a tweet for you from Tristan Tate, Andrew Tate's brother and accomplice in his webcam business. No mercy. A customer in Germany has just taken out a 12,000 euro loan to continue to spend time with a webcam model of mine. Recently, he's lost his job. He's convinced they will end up together. Spoiler alert, they won't. In this world, there are predators and prey. Be ruthless. Why are people surprised that Tristan and Andrew Tate are sitting in detention in Romania? This is the kind of stuff that they were boasting about. So in this video, I'm going to react to a video by Andrew Tate where he confesses, he boasts about scamming his customers in his video chat business in Romania and previously had one in the UK. Let's get into it. Поехали!
SAR Experience.
So quick update on the status of the legal proceedings with respect to the Tate brothers. Now, when I shot this video, it was actually a few days ago, and then I realized the Tate brothers are going to be back in court because the investigators, they want to have their detention extended. And yesterday, today's the 22nd of February, yesterday was the 21st, they were granted an additional 30 days to detain Andrew and Tristan Tate. So currently, it looks like, unless they win an appeal against the latest extension of their detention, they are going to be sitting in a Romanian prison cell until the end of March. Interestingly, the two other women who are being investigated, who have been detained at the same time as them, they have actually been released and are currently on some sort of, I guess, house arrest or house detention in the meantime. But the Tate brothers themselves going to be sitting in Romanian detention, looks like, for another few weeks at least. I made two previous videos that I'll link up above in cards as to why they're in prison and explain exactly what the Loverboy method is, because that is the main reason why they are being detained in Romania at the moment. What we're going to deal with in this video is another set of potential legal issues for them. And in the meantime, since I made those two videos, they have hired what seem to be more PR representatives than really the appropriate legal defense that I would imagine as a former lawyer they would need in Romania in a human trafficking case. They have some lawyers from the UK and from the US who seem to have dealt with other celebrity legal cases, but beats me why that's particularly relevant to a human trafficking case in Romania per se. As they languish in a Romanian prison, let's have a look at what else Andrew Tate has been boasting about doing that's dodgy. So the video I'm going to react to has the title, Andrew Tate talks about his webcam business. Now remember, that was in Romania, and previously he's reported to have one, or he said he'd have one in the United Kingdom, and how he hustled people for their money. I spelled there wrong, but we'll let that slide, the grammar here. But yeah, already we have him hustling for money from people. It kind of sounds scammy already, so let's see what he says he was up to.
The women who were on stream were beautiful, but they didn't have a fucking clue what to say. They were saying all the wrong shit, man. Every day they were saying the wrong shit, and we were losing customers. Everything I was telling you earlier about wanting to be innocent. They're saying, oh, I've been here, I've been there. I'm like, shut the fuck up. You're talking to some dude. He doesn't want to hear where you've been. He knows you can't be a 10 talking about how you've been to Dubai to some fucking dude in Minnesota who's fat. He ain't gonna ever believe that he's gonna get you that way. You gotta lie to him. You gotta lie to him. She's like, lie and say what? Say that you've never been anywhere because you don't trust men. You can't find a man who's serious. Make him think that if he's serious about you, that nothing else matters. Wow, you gotta put a famoose on it. So I'm trying to teach these women, and the women kept fucking it up. So I said to him, it's like, you know what, fuck it. I'm taking over.
So there he's describing how he would handle the interactions between the women in his webcam business. So webcam business is when primarily women, they go online, and primarily men pay to see them, I guess, strip would be an analogy, or do some sort of pornographic stuff. I've never paid to do this. I have no idea what really gets up there, but that's the premise of what webcam business is. And there you see there is interaction between them. Basically, there's kind of one room where there's lots of guys talking to the girl, and then they go into a private room. It's basically just switches off the camera for, I guess, the other men who haven't paid enough money to get that more intimate access. And yeah, he's explaining that basically the kind of avatar he had was some guy who's fat and old somewhere in the Midwest in the US, and these women who are working for him, they're probably living a reasonably glamorous lifestyle, been flown out to the Emirates, but that's not what to say in order to basically get them guys to spend more money. And then he even takes over himself. So the guy is going to think that he is communicating directly with the woman who's there on screen, but in fact, they are talking to Andrew Tate.
So the chicks would sit there and hit a keyboard that wasn't plugged in. And me and my brother, and eventually some staff I trained, would do all the talking. The girls were just pure, just famoosers, just laughing and doing this, their titties out. And they were talking to fucking ice cold hustlers. We were taking their money, all of it. If they'd come and say, well, what kind of, bro, all of it. We were fucking milking them dry. Women haven't got a clue how to famoose a dude. They don't have, because they rely on their looks.
So there he's describing how he was scamming these guys out of money, leading them on to believe that they were having this interaction with the woman who's topless. And in fact, they're actually talking to Andrew Tate, and he is scamming them out of their money. Pretty open there about it.
They don't have any of the intellect. They have no game, nothing.
There's some, though.
There's nothing.
There's some.
Nah, you get a man with game and give him a female's body, a female avatar. He will fuck a guy up. I had these guys selling their houses, life savings, loans, all of it to me. Give me it all. So like, and it's basic shit, right? You'd have a guy.
Feel bad or no?
Fuck no. To give a solitary fuck.
There you see what he thinks of his customers. Remember, his business relies on these guys to pay him money, right, for the service, and he doesn't care if they're losing all their money, they're selling houses, they're taking out loans. Goes back to the original tweet that I read out by his brother Tristan Tate. Absolutely doesn't care about them. I am looking at this, the women presumably are in Romania, maybe. It's also similar when he ran his business in the UK. He's describing the customers have been US. So you have three jurisdictions involved as well from a legal point of view there. If there was to be also a criminal case, because it looks like prima facie fraud from what he's boasting about. Very analogous with his problems about the Loverboy method, where he outlined it, even sold it as a course. I talked about that in the last video. So you have potential legal proceedings in Romania, the UK, and the US so far. And he doesn't care. What a lovely gentleman he is. What an alpha male, scamming all these guys out of their money.
Big time in love, right? Sending crazy money. And they were convinced they were going to meet the chick. This is almost where I kind of felt bad. Because they were like, can we meet? I've sent you $200,000. Can we meet? Can we meet? Can we meet? And the problem
What was
is...
the most that one person sent to a model? Total.
Million?
Wow. Wow.
About a mil in about a year?
I know you don't feel bad at all.
Why the fuck would I care?
Yeah, I don't feel bad either.
So, thank you.
Damn.
Yeah, if you have no moral compass, you don't feel bad about scamming guys out of, he claims $1 million. I take the figures with a pinch of salt personally, but.
They'd want to meet the chick, right? I only did a meeting once ever. I had a big customer with my best girl.
How much did that cost?
He paid 50 G's for dinner, just dinner. It was clear it was just dinner. He booked a really nice restaurant in London. It was me, my brother, and about 4 of my other kickboxing boys on different tables, because he doesn't know what we look like, right? So he's gone to dinner. She's sitting at the table. He's sitting at dinner. He's surrounded by killers, bro. He didn't even know. In case it was weird or tried to drug her or some shit, right? So he sat there at dinner, had the dinner, whatever. Dinner ended, nothing happened. But after they meet the girl once, the fantasy's now ruined. Like, so now they're like, okay, when can we meet again? When can we meet again? You said you liked me. You said you loved me. Hey, why don't you stay over? They start getting really pushy. And you end up like losing the customer because you can't keep meeting him without nothing happening. Girl doesn't want anything to happen. So you got to kind of keep it in the fantasy world. So we learned from this. After this, girls cannot meet guys under any conditions.
This is very similar to many of the online dating scams that afflicted this city, well, this country, this region, Eastern Europe, and this city in particular, Odessa Mama, Scam Central, as I've often called it from before, because this is a lot of the same stuff that dating sites used to do, or dodgy marriage agencies used to do, or what we call PPL sites, paper letter sites. So the PPL part is like very similar to what he's describing in the beginning, which is that they string the guy along in the communication. Here it's on video chat and the girl is topless. On these more classic PPL dating sites, they would just be maybe by text, or maybe there would be a video stream, and basically the guy's paying for message or video chat or letter, and they have some way of milking him for the communication. They string him along. They're running allegedly a lot of software, these dodgy ones, and they figure out what the guy likes, what he wants to hear, and then they kind of design this dream girlfriend avatar, and they milk him dry of money. Huge scams, enormous business. Not sure if it's still running with the Russo-Ukrainian war. And then you had the part where they would come in person, like he's described the meetup, and they were worried that if the one time that he says that they actually had a customer come and meet the girl in person, paid this enormous amount of money, 50K, to meet with her in person. Quite similar again to when guys used to come to meet women that they've been talking to online that probably weren't talking to her. Very similar situation, talking to Igor, Dima here in Odessa, not actually the girl probably half the time. It was very similar to what Andrew Tate claims that he was running. And then when they would meet up, there would be, yeah, of course, the woman is not interested, she doesn't know who the guy is, and he would basically be paying probably in the classic scenario here in Odessa with him, bringing her shopping, and yeah, then he would be strung along, and no basis for a relationship, but all just one big scam. So let's go on and see what he did next, or he claims he did next.
So what the girls would do is they promise meetings, and maybe this is a bit bad. Here's where the famoose would start. So it'd be good, like I had a lot of girls who worked for me, and the best was like the Ukrainians or the Russians. It was amazing. Because they'd get some guy, fall in love, they'd arrange the day to meet, all this shit, I need a visa. Okay, get a visa. I need money for a visa. Okay, how much is a visa? It's $900. No, but it's not $900 because I went to the embassy. They think I'm a risk, and I need a return flight there and back, and I need a hotel. I need to have spending money in my bank account. They won't let me come. Or how much you need? All right, 10 grand. Boom, it's 10 G's. Boom. Thanks.
So this is, again, a classic online dating scam with Eastern Europe. So many times I read about this, or I heard from guys who had sent money to someone they had not met in real life. Woman claims they wanted to come and meet them in the West, but they need a visa. Up until a few years ago, Ukrainians needed a visa to go to the Schengen area in the European Union, which is mainly the European Union, and then that was removed. So this scam became a little bit harder to run, but it used to still work with Russians, for example, and the guy would send money for the visa, which of course being an exorbitant amount of money compared to what a real visa would cost, and then they would need a return flight. The guy would not book the flight himself. He would be persuaded to send the money to the girl in the Western Union and getting that money back. This is before, obviously, even crypto. I had a guy who recently came to me on my consulting. I'll put a link to my consulting down below if you want to discuss something like this happening to you. And yeah, he had sent money online, woman coming to meet him, visa, flights, classic scam. Apparently still running, but Andrew Tate also running the same scam. Fraud. Let's go on.
Go to the embassy, take a picture outside the embassy, boom, come back. They rejected my visa. They said we have to wait 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, they'll give it to me. Okay, baby, boom. 2 more weeks of tips. Boom, 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 boom. Because now he thinks he's going to fuck, right? He thinks he get the girls. Now he's spending more than ever. 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks. 2 weeks come. Some other problem. Whether it's visa, whatever. We make up some bullshit.
So yeah, this is pretty classic. This is the one where the girl is supposed to go to the West, basically, and she never shows up, and there's always a problem. And they try to keep the guy strung along. Yeah, it's a pretty classic scam. I mean, either he found this out from the dodgy Ukrainian girls who had seen it work here, or Russian girls had seen it work there, or he read about it and he decided to run the same thing with his webcam business. Very clearly, if this is true, if he hasn't just made the whole thing up because it's cool, apparently, if you're Andrew Tate to claim to be a fraudster, well, then it's prima facie fraud. And yeah, I wonder if any of the guys who use his webcam business are also going to file complaints now that he's in trouble in Romania.
Could have double dipped and started a coaching to coach these guys too, right?
I could have, but fuck, I'll give it all for free because I'm rich already. But so the girl would be online for 6 or 7 hours, but then when she logged off, was sleeping or whatever, on her WhatsApp, I'd have staff. She was online 24 hours a day. Her WhatsApp, her this. She was famoosing when she was asleep. We were bringing in money from the fucking sky. We were promising all these meetings, all these pictures outside of embassies, all this shit.
All right, again, classic photos. A lot of times the guys in these more classic dating scams were sending flowers. There was any new iPhones, and then she'd have the stock photo almost by the end with a bunch of flowers, and then we're making a little video clip. Thank you, Brian, for the lovely flowers. Can't wait to meet you. And then the scam would go on and on and on. There was one guy I reviewed. I'll put some links down below in the description to other scam videos of this sort where the guy allegedly lost $300K, $300,000. Andrew Tate seems to be scamming guys, from what he says in terms of numbers, for a lot more money than that.
Eventually, the girl, what she would do is she'd say, oh, I don't want to go embassy. She'd give a really lame excuse to try and provoke the man to get angry. So she'd say, the embassy want me to come back, but I have a headache. That was the one we'd use. He'd be like, I just sent you $1 million. You promised you were going to come. You said you had to delay. Now you're saying you have a fucking headache and you won't go to your appointment, to make him mad on purpose, because that would annoy any man. And then that's what we needed. We needed a little trigger. And we go, why are you being aggressive? I'm not being aggressive, but you're not serious, da-da-da. And then we'd say, but you know what? I really like you, and I'm flying to the other side of the world by myself, and now you're being aggressive, and now I'm intimidated. And we'd flip it on him, saying, well, now you're being scary. No, I'm not being scary, but you know, it's your appointment. You're supposed to go, yeah, but I feel sick, and you don't even care. Female bullshit. Female bullshit. And flip it on him.
Oh
Flip it on him. And he'd get fucking furious, because we were really good at
playing
fucking...
both sides.
Poking him. To the point where we go like, you're a fucking scammer, you fucking scam me.
Which is true. So he would get some realization. But you see the amount of psychological manipulation here. And to think people are surprised this guy is sitting in a Romanian prison at the moment with his brother. This is what they were boasting about, hiding in plain sight. Anyways.
I can't believe you think I was a scammer. I was gonna come. I went to the embassy. You're a fucking liar. Every man in my life has only lied to me. I thought you were different. Da-da-da. Big beef. Big argument.
Yep.
Big argument. But here's the thing. The guy would get pissed off, right? And leave. Stop tipping her. Stop coming to her. But for these men, that's the only chick in the world, the only hot chick in the world who talks to him. Maybe it takes a week. Maybe it takes 2 weeks. Maybe it takes 3 weeks. He's in bed at night, alone, jerking off, looking at her old videos and pictures, watching her stream again from another account so she can't see it's him, sitting there going, maybe she was going to come. Maybe I just got too mad when she had a headache. Maybe I should have been a little bit more patient and she would have been my girlfriend. And 100% of the time, in less than 3 months, with an apology, a brand new pile of money, and the cycle would repeat.
So there you have what Andrew Tate's customers clearly were, which was a simp. I've had videos about that, I'll link. And you see that basically he's pretty confident that they're always going to come back based on what he describes as his previous experience with scamming these guys, that they come back because the reality is they are paying for some fantasy communication with a really hot girl. Yeah, pretty sad that a lot of guys are like this and that they're roped in. It's like an addiction.
We fucking killed the game. Millions of dollars a week. And it was not just because I had beautiful girls. It's not because webcam is easy. It's because I am a genius. And I put together an apparatus of genius behind the avatar of beauty. And we fucking conquered the internet.
All right, so he claims to be a genius. Maybe at that. Not sure he's a genius at his own legal proceedings at the moment, because he's sitting in a Romanian prison on being investigated for other alleged criminal activity, but this obviously prima facie, assuming it's all true, and we have the classic model that was used here in other parts of Eastern Europe for years, even cites the Ukrainians and the Russians. Yeah, classic dating scam, but actually revamped and put into a video chat format. So that should probably put things in perspective for a lot of defenders of the Tate brothers. Say, I never ever saw them do any criminal activity. What would you call this? Hiding in plain sight. Anyone who doesn't figure out that this is all dodgy, if it's true, if they haven't just invented the whole thing, that's basically, yeah, fraud, pretty clearly prima facie fraud. And the fact that they boast about it and they think it's cool, very odd. It's always struck me as odd that they boasted about these potential crimes. Same with the Loverboy method, designing a program to teach guys to do this. All seemed rather strange to me, but I guess they didn't think that they'd ever face any consequences. But anyways, they can think about that, reflect on that in the Romanian prison cells at the moment. So one distinction I do want to make between what Andrew Tate and his brother in that tweet have outlined as their modus operandi for scamming guys, and the classic one here with the PPL sites, for example, is that with the PPL sites, they had a premise that the women were there to have an actual romantic relationship. Now, on video chat, where it's basically stripping, there's no premise that this is the women are not there to have a romantic relationship or seeking a romantic relationship. They're stripping or they're doing pornography, and that's clearly a very different premise. actually a lot of these PPL sites, a lot of these scam dating sites, they actually changed. You know, being a former lawyer, I went and looked at their terms of service, and they would actually put in that they were not guaranteeing that you were even talking to the woman whose image was there often, and they were just a communication site, and you're really just paying for the communication, which is in reality what you're paying for. So definitely there's a different premise between the scams that you would seem very common here. Maybe it was based in Ukraine, maybe in Russia. They were the two main culprits for this kind of scam that targets men in the West. And you see that in Andrew Tate's case, he is running basically a stripping slash online porn service. So yeah, do you actually have any sympathy for these guys? Should it in fact be illegal? Clearly he's leading them on in order to extract the money under false pretenses, since he's using that crux of a potential relationship to get them to spend more and more money and send money into false pretenses like, oh, I need a visa, oh, I need flights. And that's obviously prima facie fraud. But do you actually have sympathy for these guys? Because I have to say that having made, over the last few years, so many videos explaining from the point of view of the Eastern European dating scam sites, explain to guys, listen, if you pay for communication on these sites, the chances of it being real are extremely small, because the main incentive for those who are running the site or women on the site is that they are getting a kickback of some sorts, and the whole idea is to keep you there chatting or communicating, because that's how they monetize it. So basically the rule of thumb is, if you're paying for communication, stop it, don't do it. But I still get guys, even to this day, writing messages on my videos. Connor, what do you think of X and X? I mean, do you pay for communication? Yes. Then why are you asking me, right? And then Andrew Tate's case, it's, as I said, a stripping slash pornographic material site. So do I have much sympathy for these guys? I mean, it's sad that they get lured into this, that they get their money taken from them, but at the end of the day, they should know better. So be interested to know what you think. Down below in the comments, let me know whether you have any sympathy for the victims, well, alleged victims that Andrew Tate boasts about and confesses. Basically, it's a big confession, if I think of anyone who is a former customer of his, of one of these sites, files a complaint, says, I spent X amount of money, here's the receipts, I sent money to this girl for a visa, for flights, and there's Andrew Tate saying that it was all a big scam that he was running. So here on the Czar Experience, we have a simp-free zones. Simps are not my clientele, unlike the Tate brothers. And you know, I'm here in Odessa in Ukraine. It is February 2023 as I'm filming this, and it is obviously still going on, the Russo-Ukrainian war, so I'm not currently going with clients either coming here to Ukraine, going to Russia, or to Belarus. But what are you doing next weekend? Because it could be you with me living the Czar Experience in a city in Eastern Europe. Now, we also won't be going to Bucharest in Romania, where the Tates decided to set themselves up because we're not running a dodgy webcam business and trying to evade the law and all that kind of stuff, although as you see, that hasn't worked out so good for them in the last few months. I have been in the last 8 months or so with my clients in several cities spanning the length and breadth of Eastern Europe, all the way over in Kazakhstan. Yes, it is also Central Asia, but it's the far extremities of Eastern Europe. In Almaty, the almighty, the big apple of Kazakhstan, also just up the road, up that direction, or is it? It's more over this direction. Chisinau, the capital of Moldova, Riga, the capital of Latvia, and also briefly in Warsaw in Poland. So those are the 4 options right now as I'm filming this. And before you apply for the Czar Experience, because it is by application only, I do vet everybody, see if it's a good fit. Go check out the 2 playlists that I'll put up on cards. The first one will give you an overview of the cities, a few client testimonials about the Czar Experience, so you'll learn a good bit more about what it entails. And the second one is a playlist on how to date the 9s and 10s of Eastern Europe, the super beautiful hotties in this region. Because this region is the part of the globe that, in my opinion, has the most beautiful women on average. And basically, we would center the weekend around the nightlife because, in my opinion, in my experience, over 10 years of being here and dating and whatnot, that is the best environment in order to meet the beautiful women in Eastern Europe in a short period of time. Social Circle will be the best, but yeah, Social Circle takes a lot longer to develop, and that's something that I work on with my clients on Desire Experience over the extended weekends. So down below is an application form, and if it is a good fit, we'll be jumping on a very brief strategy call very soon. So with that, I bid you a do pobачення from free Odessa, Ukraine, do перемоги.
SAR Experience.